Hello, welcome in, Linda. Feel like I just saw you yesterday. Are you ready, Don? Are you ready, Sam?
Yeah.
Because you did. That's true. We did see each other yesterday.
Hi, yes, I'm ready.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
All right, so ᴑɪbᴜ, welcome in, everybody. It's a Tuesday, going up on a Tuesday. Welcome to the United Cambodian Community webinar, mental health for AAPI small business owners. The United Cambodian Community, we are part funded by the SBA. We are in a collaborative, the Asian Pacific Islander Small Business Program. There we are part of a larger group such as the Little Tokyo Service Center, Chinatown Service Center, Koreatown Youth and Community Center, Thai Community Development Center, and then there's us. All of our opinions, all of our recommendations are ours alone, and they do not reflect on the SBA. This webinar was also part funded by National ACE. So we would like to say thank you to all of those that have sponsored this program and continue making these workshops and our training free for our community. I wanted to introduce myself. My name is Fred. I'm a business counselor with the United Cambodian Community. We provide technical assistance on grants, loans, government procurement. We also help with business planning, drafting financial documents, getting your loan ready. We help with social media, with marketing, with networking events, with community events. So we're really excited to share with you this training today. And before we get into it, I also want to share some important dates that are coming up in our community. On the 18th of this month, we're having a Cambodian Restaurant Week. It's going to be a kickoff. The location's at the Long Beach City College on the Carson campus, on the Carson Street in the Lakewood campus. It's going to be from 11 a.m. To 7 p.m., 6 p.m., I believe. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have vendors, arts, crafts, clothings. We're going to have a stage for any performances, any speeches. It's going to be a good time. I really hope you all can make it out on March 18 at the LBCC Lakewood campus from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And then we are having a Cambodian New Year, this year, Suli Saro, she's organizing an event called ᴑɪᴜᴜ for our Khmer, for our Thai, Lao community. That's going to be at the LBCC Pacific Coast Highway campus. And there's going to be a parade the following day in Cambodia town. And then there's going to be a park celebration right after the parade. So April 1st is ᴑɪᴜᴜ, and then April 2nd is the Cambodian town parade. So we really hope we can see you all there. I also have a vendor sign-up list, sign-up link. I will share that in the chat in case any of the small business owner here wants to sign up to be a vendor for the Cambodian Restaurant Week on the 18th. Let's see. And then that's pretty much from me. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Don. Go ahead.
Thank you, Fred. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Don Pin, also a business counselor, also known as a business navigator with the United Cambodian Community. I just wanted to echo everything that Fred said about our services. It's free of charge. We're here to help if you need any of our services. And from there, I would like to pass it on to my manager and our special guest speaker for tonight, Sayon.
Thank you, Fred and Don. So yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Hello, everybody. Good evening. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I know it's like getting close to dinner time, and I know the this topic here, uplifting our AAPI community, especially the Cambodian, Lao, and Thai community, Vietnamese community here within Long Beach around mental health is so important. Let's see, I'm going to share screen now so that we can use some of these as talking points. Okay, so this community resiliency model, CREM, is founded by Elaine Miller-Cross, and this was a training around getting our community back in line in terms of being supportive and being resilient for ourselves and with the people that we serve. So I know we just did the oops, I did a typo there. I know we just did introduction, and I also want to talk about as a disclosure is that I'm a mental health certified first aid and also CREM trainer, which means the learning about mental health and supporting for our community around mental health is I'm going to provide tools and ways for us to be able to be resilient, and in this case it's going to be applied to business owners and community members. Okay, so yeah, I mean really the basic thing that comes down to is this is such an important question to start off this talk is, what or who uplifts you, and then what or who gives you strength. So if you could think about that, and then we could perhaps share out for me, and then what or who helps you get through hard times. So these are some of the tools that I'll be asking, and then at the very end, I'll provide some resources for people to use to help you for your everyday lives, as well as if you're running a small business, whether if you're working with one employee or if you just have yourself, and then of course you have to deal with customers and clients, right? And that's important. Let's see, if you would really be helpful if this was an engaged interactive talk. So for me, what or who uplifts you? I think my nephews, I have 5 of them, and then I have a cat. And you guys know that with kids and animals, they're just so playful, and they're also really have no filters in terms of being happy. And so for me, whenever I take them out, I try not to be like a tiger uncle, I guess they could call it, because you're so restrict, right? And in the AAPI community, we can be overly protective, but also how do you allow people to play and make mistakes and then learn things perhaps the hard way of falling and hurting and getting up again. So let's see, I'm just looking at the chat. So I don't know, Fred and Don, if you want to perhaps monitor some of it. Oh, okay. So for Fred, you have your niece and nephews as well?
Yeah, my niece and nephews, pretty much the same reason as you. Kids, they're very unfiltered. They'll say everything, and it's honestly very refreshing, especially when you work in a world full of adults. You're like trying to guess what, like, what is this guy thinking? How are they working? What do they think of me? Am I looking good in front of them?
Yeah.
Are they accepting my work? Do they accept me? And then kids are like, just very straightforward. They tell you what they want. They tell you what they need.
Mm-hmm.
And when you help them, they genuinely give you their thanks or their non-thanks, and it's just really refreshing. I also want to highlight, Carrie says his parents. I think my parents, when I was young, without their support, I don't think I would be where I am now. And honestly, all the hard times I've been through, I've honestly had to lean on my parents. So my parents have kind of caught me out on a few occasions. So I can honestly say my parents as well. So I relate with Carrie there. And then Linda says lifelong friends, and their 11 niece and nephews. Once a year they visit them. That's a lot of niece and nephews.
I think I have Linda beat, because I have 8 siblings. I'm only counting the 5 kids that are 5 nephew and nieces locally here in Long Beach. So, but yeah, I'm glad Linda has, lifelong friends and 11 nieces and nephews. So she goes and visit them apparently. And looks like Don, you have your family and friends. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, you know what? My nieces, I'm sorry, well, my nephews mainly, and they kind of fall under the family and friends. I also kind of want to echo Carrie. My parents pretty much has been uplifting me throughout my entire life, through my struggles, my ventures, through my challenges, and I thank them for that.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Fred, and everyone online, and Don for sharing who uplifts you. So it's so important, right? Because the work that we do, the work that we get up as a small business owner, whether you're an independent person out there working with the community. I mean, today, personally, it's okay to be vulnerable and share challenges. And I really am thankful for friends out there and for people, coworkers as well, with when things get tough, right? It's okay to be able to have people that have a listening ear. And you as a friend or as a coworker too, it's important to allow that person to share space for whatever challenges they're going through, because a lot of times they may just want a listening ear. I'm going to show you this slide, and then you guys take a look if it's this is kind of where the energy, this is an actual image of what, where the body is heated throughout, depending on these emotions people feel. If you look at the very top corner to the left, when you see anger, it's very heated from the waist up, and then it goes up to the mind, to your brain, right? And if you look completely across that, where you just become neutral and perhaps you're more bluish black. And this is, I shared this slide, I think, to talk about, and it actually, it's also very close to depression too at the bottom. So it's important to keep track of how your body feels. And if you look at happiness, so all of this heat throughout your body, these sensations you get throughout your body, it could become anger is just, located within the chest and upper into the head area. But if you look at happiness, it's throughout your whole body. So this impacts our daily routines and how we function in our lives as a business owner, and that, of course, that could impact our work and how we function and interact with clients, how we interact with our coworkers. Okay. But I also want to step back in time a little bit here too. I know our API community have long history of, it goes back into the 1600s, in fact, where the Spanish would bring Chinese into Mexico, and then that would, start to come into America from there. And in the 1830s, Chinese laborers were brought into Hawaii to work in the sugarcane fields. And then there were Chinese peddlers recorded in New York City as well. And then we go into about a little over 100 years later, in 1976 to 1985, there were more than 762,000 refugees from Southeast Asia that immigrated to the United States. And if you think about around this time, in 1979 and 1980, was the largest group of communities from Cambodia to immigrate to the United States and throughout the world. And if you think of in terms of resources that was allocated and then perhaps used to support those immigrant community. Just think of that in terms of the Americans, I guess, how we're viewed, right? And the experience might be different because now here you have these API community, say from Southeast Asia, especially from Cambodian, for example, and how we were received, and also what our immigrant community had to go through in terms of learning languages, and then the culture, and also on how to navigate the system in this country. There was a huge learning curve for the refugee community. So I think in terms of that migration and that getting used to the culture of this country, of the United States, which is amazing, but also to give ourselves space as immigrant, as refugees that came over, and the challenges that we've had, but also how America has also opened up opportunities for many of our businesses. Okay, and just to look at 1992, there was a verdict with Rodney King trial. The Korean American community in LA suffered devastating losses due to rioting, and between 2,000 and 2,500 Korean businesses are destroyed. So there were a lot of tension in that API community, in the Korean community there. And then recently, in between 2020 and then 2021, there was a release study by the Center for the Study of Hate and Extremists at California State University, San Bernardino, examined the hate crimes in 16 of America's largest cities, found that 150% surge in anti-Asian hate crimes in 2020. So overall hate crimes fell by 7% in New York City, experienced the highest increase from 3 to 28 incidents. So that's like a huge jump. And then Boston and Los Angeles followed with increase from 6 to 14, and 7 to 15% respectively. So I think all of this, I just wanted to highlight that there's a lot of history and a lot of buildup that our API community have experienced and have seen through social media. But all in all, it's for us to still be a business owner, or and to be able to function and then run the business that we're providing, right? And we're supporting.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
How did the center define a hate crime?
So a hate crime is, I love that question because I saw it the other day. If the intention to target an individual or a group for specifically for their race or the religious belief, then that is part of the hate crime.
So when it goes like beyond personal, it's more like, oh, I hate this group, that's why I'm attacking you. It's not personal, but it's because I hate this group. Is that
Yes.
how it is? I see.
Yes, I think Linda has also, and those of you online, if you have a little more clearer definition too, please chime in. I know there's a little bit more buildup than that, Fred, but I appreciate your question. So I just wanted to give a little background. But okay, just to refocus on the, here we go. Linda had put is an incident when a person is targeted for verbal abuse. Incident. Thanks, Linda.
So it kind of just escalates from there.
Yeah. I mean, it's targeted hate, and I want to make sure that yeah, it's a hate crime is when a person is attacked for their race, gender, ethnic background, etc.
I see. Thank you, Linda.
So the focus definitely here is just to see our background of API community, but also just kind of see where we've been and the incidents throughout the years that have also perhaps that we have to be centered in terms of like being still be able to focus in doing the work that we do and the resiliency to run our small businesses, right?
Kerry brought up an experience that he feared for his mother's safety when she works at a donut shop.
Sure. Yes. That's yeah, that's a fair concern, Kerry, because you know, she's perhaps, I don't know, by herself or late, because I know some of these donut shops could also be open 24 hours, right? And it's and you have to interact with customers, and depending on if it's like a drive-through or if it's exchange of cash, you know, for goods, and you have to interact with the customer.
Yeah, I want to resonate with Kerry because sometimes I fear when my mom like goes to like a grocery store or just like anywhere like by herself. Because there was one time where I came home from school and I saw her talking to like, you know, an American male, and I felt like, well, I'm not sure the entire conversation, but when I showed up, it seemed like the American male was trying to like, get my mom to like buy something or purchase something, and then my mom was having a tough time saying no. So it's just like knowing my parents and their lack of communication and skills, I kind of fear for them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Sometimes you do have to have like a street smart out there, right? You don't know if the person that is meeting you on the street maybe trying to ask for change or trying to sell something to you, and perhaps you know, once your mom might say no, and then the person is like trying to really do like a hard sale, perhaps because you know salespeople tend to be really, I guess, aggressive in a sense. But definitely one needs to understand about personal safety as well as being able to draw that boundary, right? So this picture here is you guys have probably seen it throughout, you know, definitely on the flight to apply your resiliency mask first and learning skills to stay in your zone and to help others. So definitely you can't be not healthy and then help somebody else. So you have to be, in this picture, you have to be breathing and taking in oxygen and be well enough. Then you can help, in this picture, your child. Okay. Yeah, this is actually the fun part. So so there are 6 skills in community resiliency model. Okay. So one of them is, you know, you gotta, in the center, you gotta track what is happening. So for example, you know, there's also grounding. You can get yourself a help now. You gotta shift and stay, and you can gesture, do your gesturing, and then using your resources. So these are some of the visual images of help now. What you can do is, you know, we'll go with the pictures from the top left. You can start listening to music when you find out that you're getting upset or stressful about a difficult situation. You can definitely count backwards from 10, you know. And I know that's like, I've seen that in a cartoon, right? It's like, okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath and then count back to 10. Sometimes making light of the tough situation also helps, you know, and using humor and making jokes, perhaps. The other one is perhaps you could go out and touch something or nature, you know. Some people would maybe push against the wall and just do stretches to kind of, oh, okay, let's shake things off, or get up and move around. People may do that. You can also like take a moment to look at your surrounding. Like, oh, hey, you know what? Okay, I just need a, if somebody's in front of you that is annoying, and I've never had that happen to me. You can just say, okay, you know what? Can I just take a minute? I just need a little 2-minute break. So you can ask for that, right? Just be communicative. Definitely go, and then you can even go for a walk if you need more than a couple minutes. Again, you can also touch a piece of furniture or something else. Definitely, you can also drink water, right? Drink something that just replenish yourself. Yeah, and the last one is just focus your attention on something else that you see that's positive. What do y'all think this means? What do we pay attention to grows to you within this context of mental health?
If you focus on the negativity grows. If you focus on the positives, you think more positively.
Yeah, Fred, exactly. It's it's important to be the let me see, I'm trying to get to that slide. It's important to have that outlook, right? I mean, so I'm going to go into the brain very little, okay? It's like, I know there's a lot on my slide here, but the mirror neuron is important, like how we model our action into something. For example, if you're with the client, if you run a business, how you react and show your perhaps calmness, and the customer would react to you that way. A mirror neuron is a neuron that fires when a person takes an action and a person observes the same action being made by another. So this could also be a negative reaction, right? So somebody then can model off of that too. So the mirror neurons is the behavior of the other as though the observer were acting. When a person is in their resiliency zone and responds from their best self, another can mirror the experience of being in the same resiliency zone by observing of their behavior. Okay, so how we react to things is really important. So it could be observed by the other person. And so this image is the resiliency zone. So if you look at the red line where you're just kind of floating along, right here, this is where you're functioning fine. In fact, that's the area where you want to be. And then this space could be big or small depending the mood you're in. Okay, so this is although there's a lot of stuff on this slide of things that you're like, okay, what is all this? Okay, so the resiliency zone is right in the center where the yellow line is. So if you think back about perhaps a situation that you all have had, perhaps somebody yelling at you or honking at you, or something now doesn't work. Maybe your Zoom audio somehow slipped out and then now you can't talk or can be seen. So it's almost like this lightning hitting you. So that's pretty much what the situation is that you're looking at. So if you look, there's a high zone over here, and there's also a low zone, right? So if you're talking in terms of emotions, you could be depressed, you could be sad, perhaps feel isolated or exhausted or fatigued. Then you could be in this low zone, which means now you're just perhaps not as active and not as resilient anymore. And then you could also be on the opposite end, which is you could be edgy, irritable, mania. You can be, you know, some kind of anxiety going on. Maybe even might have some kind of anger. But the idea is to be able to recognize what's happening within your body, within your mind. And as a business owner, you want to be able to like, okay, you know what? I got to come back online because I got a job to do, right? So you want to come back into this spot.
Yeah, I just want to add something that I recognize in our Asian American community, especially those that are kind of dealing with mental health throughout their daily lives. I recognize that they have like very high highs and very low lows, you know, as seen on the graph. And an example of this is when I, you know, visit like maybe a liquor store, you know, it's a Cambodian owned liquor store, and they're very chill, you know, I go in, I walk, I talk to them, very chill, very low energy, just chilling. And then a customer comes in and this customer gives them an experience, and all of a sudden their low turns into a high. And it's just very traumatic, not only for the business owner, but for the customers that are in that location, because you're like, dang, this person was just so chill and this thing just flipped the switch on them. So I think that's something to kind of acknowledge in our Asian community, is that when you're having high highs and low lows, that might be a sign for you to kind of take a step back.
Yeah, so if you're witnessing that too, Fred, how would you be like a bystander? Or I mean, if it is their shop, it's almost like sometimes it's better to just remove yourself. Of course, you know, personal safety is also important, right? And you could either just kind of say, okay, I want to buy this bag of chips over here. So then that way you can kind of bring them back online a little bit so you can get out of there. So there's different way of interacting with them without feeling like, I'm going to teach you how to run your business.
Yeah, definitely. It does take a little bit of skill to kind of bring them back, you know, like you said. Just kind of normalizing it too, right? So like for them, they may find it normal to do it, but then for us, it's like the educational piece, and then normalizing that it's okay to go through that. You know, I'm pretty sure I've had highs and lows, and I'm pretty sure those moments are the moments where I probably suffered from mental health issues the most. So I can definitely, you know, reassess myself and see that this graph is kind of true.
Yeah.
I think more importantly, it's just we want to make, you know, acknowledge that mental health, you know, exists, and that when we do catch ourselves amongst like the anxiety or having the anger, being edgy, we can kind of catch that and kind of bring ourselves back to the resilient zone, the neutral zone, if you want to say that.
Yeah, and anyone online want to comment too, please put it in the chat and then engage if you like. So you could also be like really high resiliency as long as you're still functioning, right? You can still be like in your high zone. Okay, fine. Like, very agitated, but you're like, okay, you're still able to do things. And that's why I just love that, you know, it's important to know yourself, to know thyself, and to know how you are that moment. Okay. And just to go back to the trauma, you know, there's like different kinds of trauma. So there's like a big T trauma. You've had like a loss, you know, you perhaps lost a family member. And there's a little trauma where you perhaps just bumped into a desk corner and now you got an owie on your thigh somewhere, and you're like, dang it, okay, that hurt. But then if it's a cumulative trauma, you know, that's a combination of things packed on that's been layers and years and how long it has been. And it could be, and especially within our API community, the slide I shared earlier around you know, refugee experience, and perhaps having losses within the the history of Cambodia, and then migration, and then to learn about navigation within this country. So it's important to, to give yourself a break, and also to allow yourself that, this is what you went through, but, you still need to be able to run your business in a functional way.
I have a question. Maybe you have a practical answer to this. Like, say you're a business owner and you're grinding day to day, and ends still are barely meeting. How do you convince yourself that you need that time to rest and recover when you realize all these bills are stacking up, and you have employees counting on you, and you have so many things you need to manage? How do you have a business owner come to terms and realizing that, okay, even with all this going on, how do I make that time?
Make that time to
take care of their mental health.
Yeah, and you know what? That is the balance. If I know, let's see, Linda says, once you identify trauma, how do you grapple with it? Therapist, exercise, binge eating, drinking. So yeah, Fred, I'll answer Fred first. Like, to be able to run your own business, it's very difficult, and it's very time consuming. So you have to be there. If you have employees, you have to definitely be there for them. You have to be there for your business. Maybe even learning to delegate some things to your staff member. I think I would say it's okay to be vulnerable and let folks know that you have challenges. Challenges dealing with multiple things, and also perhaps even just taking some time off for yourself and allowing others to support you. Otherwise, without you running it, if you're the owner of the business, how is it going to function, right? If you're not healthy. So again, it goes back into, you got to take care. Self-care is important. Like, if you need time off, definitely find time off for yourself. That way you can come back and continue to run your business. Linda's asking, once you identify trauma, how do you grapple with it? You can seek therapists, exercise, binge eating, or drinking. Yeah, there's a lot of self-medications out there, right? Recently, especially during the pandemic, many people, many API community have gone through mental health crisis, and they are still the after effect of coming out of the pandemic as well. People have been self-medicated, as they call it, whether through drinking, perhaps eating, and I think it's important to find out what is too much. Too much is self-medication, and then once you start to see how that's impacting your business, your family health, right, your home life, and then and perhaps even seeking a counseling or a person that you can talk to, maybe even talk to a friend. I started following Jimmy Quick on Instagram. I think it's really important to recognize, what these can do for you, right? I love learning about these things as a resource, because definitely I want to come back into being resilient, right? Endorphin, it's the painkiller. These are the things that you can do for yourself as a self-care. I mean, self-medication through drinking and other things is good, but these are some of the natural things that you can do for yourself. Okay, endorphin is go out exercising, getting a massage, having a good meal for yourself, and how to treat your body and nourish your body, eating chocolate. And dopamine, this is your reward chemical. doing things that allow yourself, like, oh my gosh, okay, I wanted to get that task done, and I finally got that off of my list, and then, okay, what else is next that I can do? So you want to build on that dopamine to celebrate the little wins that you have out there, right? And then getting enough sleep. When you realize, as a business owner, you're just working so much, and you're always there at 5 in the morning, and then leaving at 8 p.m. If you realize you're not getting enough sleep, I mean, you gotta see if that's what you need to function and support your staff and definitely run your business. Okay, here's another 2 more slides. The serotonin is the mood stabilizer. This means, right, as we shared earlier, if you start to get stressed out and whatnot about your work, go outside, get some sun exposure, meditate, go walking in nature. I know some of you here likes to walk and hike. That's also important. Yeah, Don. And journalizing your thoughts out. And oxytocin is the love hormone, right? It's like, oh, okay, I feel good. I was talking about earlier about what makes you happy. Go visit my nephew and niece out there, take them out to the park, at the skate park. If you have a pet, you take your pet out. That's why there was like a huge increase, people adopting dogs during the pandemic. And it was so great that I was hearing that, at that time, a lot of the shelter ran out of pets, dogs, especially because people were adopting them. And then talking to a loved one, and doing random act of kindness for others, and definitely giving compliments to people. I don't know, I don't know about you guys, but in the beginning I had a hard time receiving compliments. But it's so. What do you any comments on these 4 areas: serotonin, oxytocin, and dopamine?
I would definitely say our AAPI community is really good at the oxytocin part. I think we're really good at showing love, especially random acts of kindness. I would say a lot of our business owners, they don't really get that love in return, but they're really good at giving it out, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think even in the family life, I think this holds true too, because I don't know, I've never seen my mom happier until she's playing with a baby, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think that's great. Thanks, Fred, for sharing that. But yeah, these I know sometimes people tend to give out more instead of trying to receive, like I mentioned earlier, receiving compliments. Allow yourself to hear good things, that you're doing good things from others. Take that as, hey, you did a good job today, or hey, you look beautiful today. Yeah, I think she needs more of that in her life. Oxytocin.
Yeah, we can use a bit more of all of that. I agree with all those activities, and I can relate to them. It's just that, let's say I don't have a pet, so I can't experience that love hormone, but I'm pretty sure it's there, since during the pandemic, we ran out of pets to adopt.
Mm-hmm. I know we have 10 minutes left here. I want to share some resources as we're wrapping up, and then we can talk about as like an open discussion. So these are some of the resources out there. This is Pacific Asian Counseling Center, PACS. They have an office here in Long Beach. They do have language for the API community as well. Their location here in Long Beach is 3530 Atlantic Avenue. And this is their phone number, 562-424-1886. And this must be the LA phone number, since it's 310. And then
is PACS, is it like multi-language?
Yeah, multilingual. So you may have to call them and then ask them the language you speak, whether it's Khmer.
And what type of services do they provide there, Sayon? Like, do they offer counseling, therapy? Just curious.
Yeah, their mission is to enrich the lives and families throughout counseling and caring. They provide culturally sensitive and language specifics expertise within the immigrant community and Pacific Islander population.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah, they also provide, wraparound family services. And I think what is info? Oh, yeah, that's the resource. They offer mental health, case management, medication support, parenting, home visitation, outreach, and education. Yeah, Linda, I would say give them a call if you like, and just find out more. The other is, this app is called iChillApp.com, and it's a free app. And this is the part of the CREM that I'm sharing about. So you can download this. And this is the other resources if you need it. This is LGBTQ resource as well. You can even text with them. Just text 741, and then you can text with the counselor, like if you need to talk with them. Okay. And it's also, of course, National Suicide Prevention Hotline here as well. I know this is the Trevor Project is down here. They're also 24/7. If you prefer to speak with them through phone, just give them a call. And you can also text Trevor, TREVOR, to this number 202-304-1200. And it is also the same one too. And yeah, so this is my this is also a UCC phone number at the office, and you can also reach me here if you need to chat or more information with some of these slides that I have. And maybe the next 7 minutes, we could also open up to questions or maybe comments on what you all have.
Awesome. Thank you, Sayon. I really want to just go ahead and just encourage people to ask questions or leave any comments. In the meantime, I can go ahead and maybe share something. I really appreciate all the resources that Sayon shared. The reason why is because, especially in when it's mental health, sometimes the situations can be a bit complicated and a bit messy. That's why it's always good to have these hotlines and phone numbers on hand. For example, last year, my grandma, she was suffering from, a bit of dementia, a bit of schizophrenia. She was watching, ᴅᴜᴜ, Khmer news, and she's just cussing out, politicians, and, she went around the house, started banging on doors and trying to find out where her passport is and trying to drive places, go to places. So my mom, she was personally getting a bit concerned and worried and scared that she wouldn't be able to take care of her, because she'll wake up in the middle of the night and she'll find our grandma, wandering the street somewhere. We had a couple of times where the police had to escort our grandma back because, we put on a little tag on her, so in case someone finds her. So I recommended my mom reach out to these counseling services. They had Khmer speaking staff, so my mom was able to chat with, Khmer speakers, and they were able to navigate them to Khmer counselors, Khmer mental health professionals, and now my grandma, she's getting help from a mental institution, and my mom, she's, doing a lot better, taking care of herself. And me, I'm doing a lot better knowing that that's not happening at home. So I really want to encourage people to make sure you save these numbers, and even not just for yourself, but like for people that, surround you, they may need it. Yeah, I just wanted to give my piece on how important this is.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that personal story, Fred. I know as our parents get older, it can be frustrating, right? Not knowing what they're going through, whether they're suffering from bipolar or schizophrenia or early Alzheimer. And I know there's medications out there, and personally, I just don't like them. If there's like a natural way, if people can get support without them, I think it's also great. And I know they have their purpose sometimes too. Yeah.
Okay, it seems like everyone is checking out. Everyone's just learning so much from your PowerPoint today, Sayon. Seems like we need some time to kind of let it kind of sink in, and not only that, it seems like we need to kind of put all of this into practice as well. You shared some really good tips, a lot of good resources, and also you shared like a lot of cool graphs and like diagrams and stuff, something where we can kind of look at it on a more conceptual level. So I really appreciate your very educational and practical approach to today's presentation. I think that's something that's really needed, especially in our business community, people that are actually doing things on a day-to-day. They need actual solutions, actual advice. So it's really cool that you're able to provide that for us today. Again, I want to remind everybody that this month and next month is going to be chock full of events. So if you're looking for a day, to take off, if you're looking for a day to just kind of unwind, hang out with the family, I know a lot of us here have mentioned that our family is one of our strongest support systems. So I recommend maybe treating them out, take them to Cambodian Restaurant Week. That's going to happen March 18. Also take them out to Cambodian New Year's, take them out to the parade. It'll be a good bonding experience, time for you to kind of get your mind off of work and just kind of enjoy culture with the community. So I really look forward to seeing you all there. And I really hope you all enjoy the rest of your night. Don, do you have any last words?
No, I would just like to thank everyone again for joining. And thank you, Sayon. All the resources you provided was very helpful for me as well. And so I hope everyone else enjoyed this webinar. And yeah.
Thank you everyone for attending and hanging for the whole hour. I hope there was something that you were able to take away from this talk and the resources. There you go, Linda. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. It's like a happy hour. And hopefully that happy hour is some of these resources and kind of a little aha moment that you're able to use for yourself.
Yeah. Now that you mention it, Linda, maybe we could rebrand these talks into small business happy hours. That'll be fun.
Yeah, that would.
Okay, so you're all gonna get like a survey on your way out. So if you have time, please fill out that survey and have a good rest of your night, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.